commit fraud. Before I start the presentation, I'd like to talk about what is fraud. So I did some research and found many definitions for fraud. One of the definitions that stood out for me was unlawfully taking money or other resources from another's property. Um, so under common law, fraud has four basic elements. The first one, a material false statement or omission. The second one is the suspect had knowledge that the statement or omission was false. And the third one is the suspect intended to make the victim rely on the false statement or omission. The fourth one, and lastly, is the victim relied on the false statement or omission and suffered injury or damage as a result of it. Um, so, what are the factors that lead to people committing fraud? Um, First one is the fraud diamond theory, which talks about there being three factors: pressure, opportunity, and realization, um, and obviously capability to commit this fraud. According to Wolf and Hammerson, opportunity opens the door, um, and the realization draws the offender towards the door, and the capability pushes them through. And obviously, the pressure is the reason why they do this. Compared to that, there's also the fraud scale theory, which replaces realization with low personal integrity. So the underlying proposition is the integrity reflects behavior. So therefore, fraud is more likely to occur when there is high pressure, greater opportunity, and lower personal integrity, and vice versa. So there's a thing called calculus of fraud, which is R is greater than PL, where R is reward, which is greater than P, which is the product of probability of getting caught, times L, which is perceived gravity of loss. Therefore, we can say that people commit fraud when for their self-interest. So, criminal decision making. The decision to commit a crime is generally based on a number of factors. Um, so, which comes from rational choice theory, where decision making circumstances is a calculated choice whereby the offender analyzes the situation and decides to go ahead with committing the fraud. For example, bonuses. An employee of a company, say for example, top management, could commit fraud and alter the financial statements so that the company looks like it is doing great, performing well, and making enough profits. Therefore, the top management should get bonuses. So the factors. Um, the factors that add up to the criminal decision making generally include things such as personality, upbringing, self-perception, and previous crime experience. Of course, these also are added together with the opportunities and the cost-benefit trade. So the techniques of realization. The techniques of realization by offenders include denial, condemnation, and hierarchy. So first we'll talk about denial. There are three common denial techniques. Denial of responsibility. When offenders deny responsibility, they view their behavior as a result of circumstances that they cannot control. Second is denial of injury. So when the offenders feel as their behavior did not affect anyone or harm anyone. and isn't against the law. The third one is the denial of the victim, when the offender um, believes that the victim deserves the injuries that were caused. And leading to that is condemnation, which is shifting the blame from their own selves to those who to say that others have condemned their behavior. Um, then there's higher loyalty, which is loyalty to a group with which offenders associate. So, for example, a union at a workplace that decide to do fraudulent activities at work. So next we'll talk about the general theory of crime. Um, General theory of crime explains crime as a natural consequence of uncontrolled human desire to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Crime is a way of pursuing self-interest. There are two parts to this, opportunity and self-control. Opportunity is being in a place where committing fraud is easy, compared to self-control is the ability to control that emotion and desires to commit that fraud that the opportunity has arisen for. Now we'll move on to organizational misconduct. Organizational misconduct is misconduct performed for the organization rather than for itself. It can be influenced by the organization's culture. Um, the fraud may be conducted to help the organization um, seem like it's performing well, for example. Um, this is different from misconduct for personal gain, as this is for organization, and this can lead to bad reputation for the company or organization. Um, Now we'll just have some final thoughts regarding this topic. So after working on this presentation, I found that fraud is a crime of intent. It's for self-interest. People do this to for them to benefit for themselves. It is a personal choice. So they say that the situation made them do this, but it's personal choice. Um, and found that opportunity and pressure seem to be the main factors in regards to this. If companies try to ensure that there are no opportunities arising for fraudulent activities to occur, this might be really helpful for them. Um, Apart from that, I think that's all for today. I'd like to thank you for listening to my presentation. Thanks.